Welcome to Uncharted, your sidekick for life. I'm Natalie Payton Newman, actor, comedian, and your host, guiding you through real conversations with real people, doing life on their own terms, with the help of pivotal mentors along the way. Today's guest is Dwayne Goetzel, husband, father of two, trademark attorney, novelist, music lover, basketball player, and lifelong comic book fan. We talk about his winding path from small-town Texas to becoming a name partner in a law firm, why he almost ditched law school entirely, and how one blunt conversation changed everything. This story proves that stumbling your way forward, one honest decision at a time, might be the most powerful way to find your path. Let's get started. Well, thank you so much for being here today, Dwayne. So the audience knows, but there's been some changes to the show. So now I'm the only one hosting. And so you all know, I'm Natalie Payton Newman. I am an actor, comedian, and podcast person, Natalie. And today I am joined by Dwayne Goetzel. If you want to give a brief intro of who you are to the audience or how you identify when you're in public, how would you introduce yourself?
Dwayne. Yeah.
But who are you? Your identity. I know you as a trademark attorney, a high-powered attorney, a name partner, but you're so much more than that.
Well, I mean, I hope so. I don't know if I am, but we'll say that I am. Father of two girls, married, basketball player, love music, love to write, have a lot of different interests, travel, all kinds of things. So I don't really identify as just one thing, certainly not as, Mr. Trademark Lawyer.
Well, you've certainly helped me with some questions with Trademark because it can get so complicated. So thank you for that. Okay, so how we like to do things on this show, since this is a show about mentorship and we're Uncharted, your sidekick for life, and we're here to show Gen Z that there's alternative ways to get to where they're going. There's no one right way. So we always like to ask our guests when they come on, like, what did you want to be when you were 15 years old? And then how did it progress from there? Where did life take you?
Yeah, embarrassing true story. Huge comic book nerd.
Yes.
And
Oh, but yeah, I saw your socks.
Oh.
What's on your socks? Is that Space Ghost Coast to Coast? Oh, no, it's the Joker.
Joker's on one. I think Batman.
Batman. Okay. He kind of did look like Space Ghost for a second.
Yeah. So when I was a kid, I ran outdoors often yelling Shazam, hoping that lightning would turn me into a superhero. It has been all downhill ever since.
Oh, man.
So, failing superhero status, it's okay, how do I stumble by and do something else?
So did you have siblings?
I have one younger sister.
Okay, so do you think the protective superhero thing came from that?
I just wanted to fly and wear a cape.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
I think if I had a superpower, it would be to fly, if I could choose any superpower.
I used to think that. Now I think I would probably go with Professor X, the X-Men, to be able to persuade people.
Oh, that's smart.
There's so many people in this world that need persuading of various things.
That's so true. That's so true. Okay, so over time, did you play basketball all throughout high school?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, my dad was a teacher and basketball coach.
Cool.
And I've all my life, my earliest memories are, going on trips with my dad and his teams, sitting on the sideline with him back when I was really young, like 2.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, it's
in your DNA.
Yeah, I can't help myself.
Right. What's your position?
I can play pretty much any position except for point guard. My dribbling isn't that great. So
I was like a 4-5. We're tall, so down in the post.
Right, exactly.
Did you play in college?
No, I was never that good.
Okay. But you played varsity, I'm sure.
Actually, no. I was much shorter and much heavier when I was younger. I grew 7 inches between my 8th and 9th grade year in the summer.
Wow. So you came back a new kid.
Started, first day of high school, and people were like, who's that guy? Literally, people didn't recognize me.
Tall, lanky dude. No.
Yeah, I went from 5'5" to 6 foot in one summer.
Wow. You must have had growing pains.
I don't remember them. But I do remember being pretty awkward.
Yeah, me too. I think my growth spurt happened in 6th grade. And I went from being like a pudgy girl to just shot up and a tall woman, basically. I guess I wasn't a woman yet. I was 13, but it happens. But you're a daddy of daughters. So you wanted to be a superhero. then tell me about like high school, how you went from playing basketball and then your college decision making. Like, what was that journey like for you?
Yeah, I'm kind of the poster child for stumbling my way through.
Okay, cool. This is
Excuse me.
great for our audience.
I really had no idea. I knew that I loved certain things. I loved history. I loved languages. I loved learning new things. I loved travel. Um, but that didn't translate into any specific
Career.
vocation or career.
Right.
So in high school, I don't know if they still do this now. They used to give vocational tests. Here, list out all your interests and all that kind of thing. And mine came back fashion designer.
Oh my gosh, wow.
Which everyone gave me grief about.
Sure.
And no, that's ridiculous. This test is flawed. But looking back, I go, that actually would have been a pretty good
you're
gig.
fashionable, put together.
Man, don't know about that, but I like fashion. I
Yeah.
like drawing, doing all that kind of stuff. I like the creative process.
Sure.
I just didn't veer that direction.
Do you think because of what society said about
I'm sure.
it? Okay.
I'm sure there was a
And
stigma.
where were you raised?
I was in Kerrville.
Oh, okay. Oh my gosh. So Central Texas.
Yeah, I grew up in the Hill Country.
Wow. Okay.
And, Kerrville was a very conservative place. It was
Certainly.
a great place to grow up as a kid. But again, looking back, it's far more conservative than I turned out being. And yeah, I'm sure that societal stigma was, no, that's not me, who I am. But again, looking back, job-wise, that'd have been a pretty sweet gig.
Sure. Absolutely. There's nothing more exciting than going to a fashion show and seeing new design, at least as a woman who's been able to go to Fashion Week with my aunt in the past, and it's just riveting.
Yeah. I've never been, but I like clothes. I like color. I like expressing yourself through what you wear and that kind of thing.
Yes, likewise. That's so great. So what a thing to be told. I remember growing up, we used to draw little fairies. I don't know, like in 4th grade, but the whole thing with the fairies was designing their clothes. And so I loved drawing design clothes and stuff like that as well. Did not turn out to be a fashion designer, but all my clothes are thrifted. So I think there's something there.
There's something there, yeah.
I don't know. I don't know what it is, but okay. So when you are a junior, was there SAT that went down back then? Not back then. You know what I mean? Nowadays people aren't really doing SATs. So I have to ask.
It was definitely a thing. And growing up, my parents, my dad was like I said, high school teacher and coach. My mom was a secretary in the public schools. So there wasn't a lot of money going around. And they sat me down at one point and said, son, you can go to any college that you can afford to pay for. And
that's great.
They hadn't saved because they couldn't save anything. So I knew it was all up to me. And that put a whole different spin. I've always been far too tightly wound, probably for my own good.
I want to dig into that, but okay.
And so I knew it was on me. So I was dead serious in high school. I had to get the best grades. I knew that the only way, because again, the growth spurt happened too late. And so my basketball playing days were just going to be rec league only. I knew that academics was going to be how I would get ahead. And that's what I then parlayed into a scholarship for college.
Good for you.
And I didn't necessarily want to go to Angelo State, but after visiting there and seeing they have this fantastic scholarship program for academics, and that allowed me to go to school for free for 4 years. So
what a gift.
Easy decision. Yeah.
100%. And then you get out debt free.
Exactly.
Did you have like financial acumen in high school, or were you just like, I'm going to do things differently?
No.
Because we're not taught it, Dwayne.
Exactly.
It drives me crazy. I'm a 35-year-old woman still learning about how to not be financially insecure. And it's not because I'm not provided for, and it's not because I don't make enough money. It's because I wasn't taught it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I know exactly what you mean. I was really, really fortunate for a number of different things. My grandparents both lived through the Depression.
Oh, wow.
And they went to university in Oklahoma. And one of the years, they lived in a tent. Literally a pop-up Boy Scout tent that you throw on campus. And so from them, I learned the value of, you have to save. But that was kind of just, you need to save without telling me how. When I was very young, we went to a friend's house, and he was an airline pilot, and they had this nice house. It wasn't a McMansion or anything, but it was a very nice house with a big bathroom and everything. And I still remember to this day, he had this big round bathtub, like a jacuzzi tub. And I was, God, this is just amazing.
I got to give me one of those.
Yeah. And he said, if you want something like this someday, all you do is for every dollar you make, put a dime aside, and you'll be fine.
So just 10%.
Just 10%. And it was so simple and so clear and so easy. It was like, oh, okay, I'll do that.
Yeah.
And I always have.
That is so
from that
smart.
day on. It was, but for him, it never would have occurred to me something like that. You think, oh, you have to make a lot of money and then you have to pull part of it. No, you just save a certain percentage as you go along.
Right.
And everything will work out fine.
Last episode's guest, his mom told him something similar. It was something like, always pay yourself first. But what she meant by that was set aside money first and then go to your bills. So it's like that money doesn't exist. That is in savings. Put it in a Roth IRA or whatever he did. And it worked out for him to be able to like go all in on his passion and work that he's doing now. But that's so crazy. But this is embarrassing for me to admit, but how disconnected I am and can be from my finances. Finally literally today, I put my husband on my bank account because I'm like, you have an MBA. Like, you know money better than I do. Right. You need to be on my bank account. We're married. He should have been on it earlier, but whatever. Yeah. We took our time. But when I was there, they reminded me, you have a rewards debit card. I was like, no, I don't even know what that means. They're like, I said, I get points for spending money? They're like, yeah, do you want us to look up how many points you have? I was like, sure. I had 75,000 points. So I was like, pull it out, give me the cash. And it was like $740 or something. Right. But immediately I can put that towards paying off debt. Like that's bonus money that was found today.
Nice.
Which is great. I don't immediately go, what can I spend it on? Because I don't want to be that consumerist like that. But I immediately now think, what debt can I pay off? Which is exciting.
No, that's smart. I mean,
But it's not smart that I didn't know about it for 5 years, Dwayne.
Sure,
like,
but
that's a little embarrassing.
But if you'd known about it when it was only, say, 10,000 points,
True.
You go, that's $10 credit. Go to Starbucks,
right.
We're done.
That's
right?
true. That's true. Now I can put it toward a credit card or whatever. Okay, so you had that lesson from the pilot. Are you still in contact with that pilot? No. Okay, well, what a great lesson that was life-changing for you.
Oh, huge.
It literally shaped the way you manage your money.
Yeah, huge.
I wonder if it bled into how you manage the finances of your law firm, too. Because I imagine your hands are in the treasury there if you're a named partner.
That makes it sound bad.
Oh, sorry. I'm not claiming.
No, to the audience, my hands are not in our treasury.
Sorry, I don't know what I'm saying.
It did make me when...
Your hands are in the kitty of the law. No.
Yes. Not telling anybody about this.
I'm sorry, Dwayne. I take it back. Redact it.
No, but what it does mean is that you tend to look when you're trying to create a law firm and you realize, okay, I'm going to be in business with these people. You want someone that has the same kind of mentality. And that means being conservative with finances and not, okay, we're going to borrow money to do something. We're going to stick to the budget or whatever, and we're not going to go out on that limb. And to that extent, yes, having that kind of conservative, we've got to save, you've got to live within your means, all that kind of thing, that really did help with respect to the law firm because everyone that I practice with is the same way. They're very conservative with respect to finances. That's and great. Yeah, we're not going to
be flashy or...
Yeah, we're not going to, have a huge, rent amount for the building and that kind of thing with the idea of, more business will come in to cover it later. No.
Right. Don't spend what you don't have.
Exactly.
So Angelo State, is that in San Angelo?
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
it is.
Great. One of my favorite memories is going to San Angelo. I think a distant great aunt or something on my mom's side, we would go visit and we would always stop at the venison shop. And they had Jelly Bellies there. And I remember just filling up bags of Jelly Bellies and we would get venison. I didn't really care about the deer meat, but the Jelly Bellies were what it was all about. And I just recently looked it up. Actually, I'm going to Google it to see what it's called because you're going to know the name of it. It's bound to be a famous shop in San Angelo. It's like a market. like a country store. But then from there, is that where you also went to law school?
So in college, I majored in history and minored in German. And again, I didn't really
Majored in history, minored in German.
Mhm.
That's fascinating.
didn't really know what I was going to do with it. It was
Okay.
kind of, I love history just from the subject matter, but
Likewise.
what do you do if you're not going to teach it?
Right.
And so I was thinking, well, maybe I would go the PhD route or go to law school. And I, again, just stumbling through, I didn't take the time to actually do any research or talk to any lawyers or anything, find out what they actually do. I just kind of thought, oh, well, you can do so much with a law degree, which maybe you can, maybe you can't. But that wasn't my thought process.
Sure.
It was, you can probably make more money with law. That probably opens more opportunity, more avenue. Whereas with, teaching history, you're going to teach history and that's
Exactly.
it. So I got a scholarship to study in Germany.
That's
And
exciting.
oh, it was fantastic. Studied in Marburg, about an hour north of Frankfurt, which
Okay.
is it's like the quintessential German town with the castle
Love
and the
it.
Gothic cathedral and the half-timbered housing. I mean, it's spectacular. But I show up there, and I'm trying to make up my mind what to do. And so I'm in the registrar's office, and true story, I say, I'm trying to make up my mind between history and law, so I think I'll just take some courses in both. And the woman said, we don't do that here.
Oh?
This is my verbatim response. Law, I guess.
So she
And
put you on that path
she
to law.
put me on the spot and made me decide in the moment. So as I'm sitting there, and I literally said, for about 5 seconds before going, law, I guess.
Law, I guess.
But, it's not always a smooth path. I went
Sure.
to UT Law,
Okay.
and by October of my first semester, I was so fed up with it, didn't like law school, throw all my books into the locker, march across campus to the history department, wanting to talk with a professor about transferring to the PhD program. Every single professor was gone. The secretary there said, I'm sorry, everyone's gone, but I can talk with you if you want.
Aw.
So I slink back across campus, get my
Sure.
books, and finish 3 years of law school.
Wow.
But I honestly think if a professor had been there and said, oh, yeah, we would love to have you. History's great. This subject matter, all that kind of thing, might have changed. Yeah.
That's so interesting. We had another guest that went to UT Law School and was miserable and ended up finishing the degree or maybe dropping out. I'm forgetting now. He's a fabulous businessman here in town, but realized law school wasn't for him.
Mm-hmm.
And yet you stuck it out. That's amazing. I mean, talk about resilience.
It's probably a part of my OCD nature.
Sure. Like when you start something, you have to finish it.
I have to finish it.
Yeah.
And
I can understand that.
And since, again, it didn't work out with, me marching across campus and, okay, fine, we'll
You were
come
on
finish.
a mission.
And as it turned out, it's really just the first year of law school that's
Okay.
miserable. The
Yeah.
second and third years are fine. They ease up. The Socratic method isn't as bad. And
Gotcha.
yeah,
So
it was okay.
More about I'm sure I'm going to say this incorrectly, but the dogma of law or all the rules and regulations, just the dense history of law in the first year?
See, that's what I thought it would be.
Okay.
Having not talked to any lawyers or done any research, I thought it would be kind of a continuation of an undergrad degree where you're learning about it, learning about the history of law and the philosophy. It's really a trade school that teaches you how to think.
Interesting.
The first year is all about the Socratic method is where the teacher, and you probably know this already, the teacher will ask you something and it's not something that you just have a right answer for. It's this situation.
Like a rhetorical question.
Yeah. How do you resolve this based on what? So it's forcing you to think like a lawyer and to apply problem-solving skills to whatever the issue is that the professor has raised. I had no experience in all of that. And again, it's kind of like
skill to learn, though.
I mean, it's useful. It's useful for a lot of things. For being married and having kids.
I was just about to say, for relationships.
Less useful for that.
Oh, okay. Because then you can't lawyer up your wife. And
when you do, the results are not good.
Sure.
You tend to hear, you're acting like a lawyer again.
Yeah, I'm good on this.
Yeah, sorry.
That's funny. So, okay. So you can find value in what you ended up sticking out the law degree.
Yeah, 100%.
Obviously, it's your career now.
But again, I've kind of stumbled through a lot of different things, including my current job.
Okay.
So fine. I'm going through law school. My grades are just average. I'm not a
Is it because you're not unhappy?
It's partly that, and it's partly because I was really, really good at everything prior to that.
Mm-hmm.
And in law school, everybody is good at what they've done prior to that. So, the level of competition is greater, but also I was just thinking in terms of not being a trade school, but learning, and it's a subjective thing, learning how to think.
Mm-hmm.
In any event, so I'm going through, and I'm not getting great grades or anything, and I decide I've got to have something. So I tried out for a moot court, which is like a mock appeals thing.
Oh, okay.
I did mock trial, but also moot court. Moot court is like the appellate level, whereas mock trial is doing stuff at a trial level.
Sure.
And it turned out I was pretty good at that. So I did a lot of those things, got in a lot of competitions, did really well. And again, it was just stumbling into it because I had to figure out something to do to make me more, useful, beneficial, I guess, right?
To add value to yourself and your
to have some
career.
versus going, I don't know, I've got a law degree. What do I do with it?
I guess.
And so, as it turned out, I used that and parlayed it into my first job, which was just doing trial work.
Like prepping for trial.
Yeah, preparing cases for trial. And my first job was with a big firm in San Diego. And it was a huge firm, in fact, and so I didn't really do anything. It was like, fifth string team member doing research all the time, and that wasn't fun. The partner who hired me left to join a firm in Orange County, so I went with him, and it was a complete reverse. It was, here are all your cases, go do them. I don't know what I'm doing. Well, you'll figure it out.
Okay.
And it was very much a kind of a trial by fire sort of thing.
I'm thinking Suits right now. Have you ever watched it?
I don't watch legal shows.
Okay, probably because they'll annoy you. But
I sit there and go, that's not right.
Yeah.
My wife, shut up. Let me
I'm
enjoy
enjoying
this.
Yeah. It's sort of like me watching any film or television. I'm like, okay, so this is a scene that's a callback scene. And I'll break it down for Jordan. He's like, okay.
Yeah, he's like, can I just please watch? Yeah.
He knows what I'm going to say too. He's like, the costume designer's really great in this episode. He now knows what I'll say. But I guess it's very similar. But in Suits, they're thrown into it. But there's also scenes where the associates are doing all the work, the kind of the grunt work.
Mm-hmm.
You were an associate?
Yeah.
Okay. So as an associate, are you a lawyer? Or, okay, so you've passed the bar to become okay. Forgive my ignorance.
No, not at all. It's Greek to most people.
Sure. But it's interesting because we're represented by a family law situation right now for my stepson, and so I'm learning about all of the language for it. As we see, very different than other types of trials, but still, it's a whole new language for me.
Yeah,
for sure.
No, it's definitely different, and it was for me also.
Yeah.
You're thrown into this, and you're just trying to figure it out as you go.
But it sounds like you had a mentor, the guy that you followed to Orange County.
Yeah.
Would you consider him a mentor?
He certainly took a chance on me.
Sure.
He wasn't, with that job, most people weren't that great about sitting you down and explaining and so forth. But other lawyers would say, hey, I need help with this. And, handle this deposition for me. And if it goes to trial, then you can second chair the trial, which means he's or she is primarily in charge. And then you get to do other things like cross-examine witnesses or whatever. And so there were some lawyers who were very good about that, who would say, okay, I'm going to trial in Santa Monica next week. Let's go. And you would go and you're sitting there and, you're standing up in front of the judge with the jury and all of that. And you're cross-examining these witnesses feeling like, this feels like I should be on a TV show or something that is not quite real.
Right.
But I'm doing it anyway.
But that's the action. That's what you would seek, I'm assuming. That's the big time.
It's not really big time, but doing a trial is a lot of fun. The problem is there is so much work.
So much work.
That goes into it. The trial is just the tip of the iceberg that you see, and all the discovery. That's the thing about our legal system is everyone hates the discovery process because, as you know, you can get asked about anything. Provide every document that you've ever seen in your entire life about anything, and you have to produce it. And it's It's a nightmare of a process. It definitely feels like a violation. And a lot of other countries don't have that same kind of discovery process that we do. But on the other hand, I don't think that you can dig and discover justice in other countries like you can here. Yes, it's far too costly, it's too time-consuming, all of that, but ultimately you have a mechanism to get to the bottom of it. You know, if someone's lying and they're withholding documents, you have a mechanism to do something about it. Whereas in other countries, it's kind of like, produce everything that's relevant. Okay, here, that's it.
That's what we thought was relevant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't have that means, to subpoena them, to force them to give a deposition, to do other things, to find out that they're hiding stuff.
So interesting. That is so interesting. Did you have anything to compare to, like, from your studies in Germany? Like, what, since you were studying law in Germany, was it just...
It was because they operate on a civil code rather than...
Civil code.
Yeah, so everything is in statute.
Okay.
Rather than we have a lot of case precedent that they don't really have. So, if you want to know, okay, what does the civil code say on injury? Okay, you just go to the statute and look it up, and that's what it says. Here, we have that, but you also have cases that interpret the statute that say, well, that's not really exactly what it means, or here's, the supplemental thing. And so you have to know the cases and how the cases are applied to these situations in addition to just whatever.
That's why we always call back cases.
Yeah.
Like Roe v. Wade or whatever it is.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Those are supposed to be precedential.
Right.
But, as we see, it kind of depends on who likes what, right?
Exactly. And when they like it. Yeah. Another conversation for another day, but yes. So you graduate UT Law. You go to California. You switch law firms. You're kind of getting into the action. Was it ever a consideration for you? This is just out of my curiosity. Jordan and I have been going to Louisiana a lot, and every other billboard is a personal injury attorney. And I think it's such a problem there that people like force accidents because they have such a big personal injury presence that there's a lot of payouts. So did you ever consider that type of lawyering?
No. Like so many things, I think the intention is good, that people who have been injured and don't have the financial means to pay for a lawyer need someone who's willing to take a case on contingency.
Definitely.
Are there abuses? Yes.
Sure.
It's like everything else in our society. You try to legislate something for a good reason, and someone clever will go, oh, I see the way how I can use that and turn it around for my own benefit or my own selfish purposes or whatever. So, yeah, but it was never something of interest for me. When I got out, I was basically just doing trial work from the defense standpoint.
Okay.
So that could have been personal injury stuff. It could have been, insurance claims. It could have been any number of things. And that wasn't really that satisfying for me either. So we were in California for about 3 years. Both my wife and I were from Central Texas, and we knew we wanted to come back. So she got a job working as a social worker and a teacher. And so that was kind of the safety net of, okay, fine, I'll come back.
Yeah.
Got a job with the Attorney General's office. And
that's great.
Again, not from any particular knowledge or planning or anything. It's like, oh, they were hiring? Okay, sure. That's a good place to bounce and figure things out while I'm there.
But didn't really have an interest in politics before?
No, not really. I mean, when I was a kid, I did, but then I rapidly figured out that I don't want to spend 2 years in Iowa kissing babies and eating rubber chicken dinners in order to, win that primary and then or caucus and then try to work my way to some kind of no.
I learned so much about politics in that play you came and saw me
over
the ledge. I mean, it was satirical, and obviously we were making fun of the decisions that are and are not made in the Texas legislation. But still, it was like eye-opening to me.
You find the truth through humor.
You have to. You have to. Otherwise, it's just going to be, woe is
Where's
me.
a bridge?
Right. Exactly. Right. So you're with the AG. Did you feel, I feel like with state or federal law, it must feel like it takes forever for anything to get decided or get done.
I mean, I was with the Tort Litigation Division, which was, again,
what does that mean?
A tort is like a personal injury or
Okay.
something that happens to a person. If I damage you, it could be any number of things. It could be a car wreck, a slip and fall, any number of things that are
Sure.
directed to you as a person. So I was defending the state in cases that were brought by people against the state. So
I
if
see.
someone slipped and fell in TxDOT, or someone from
Like
what
the little boy who just drowned in the Austin public pool. He would be one.
yeah, I mean, that would be a city
A city.
thing
You're right.
versus the
Okay.
state, but
Copy
same
that.
general idea. Yeah.
Okay.
So defending the state in all kinds of claims. And it was just trial work like any other trial. So
Okay.
there was no difference. There wasn't a slow grind process or anything. It was like, okay, here's your docket of cases. Deal with it.
Yeah.
And so you take the depositions, you send the discovery, you gear it up for trial if need be, or you settle it more likely than not. But again, that wasn't really my thing either. So I lasted about a year there,
Okay.
joined another firm, a private firm, and kind of the same thing. It was just all kind of on the defense side from civil stuff. And it was fine, but it wasn't really intellectually stimulating or challenging for
Okay.
me. And so this is where just the pure luck comes in. A friend of mine was working at an intellectual property firm, and they didn't have anyone who knew how to try cases. I didn't know a single thing about intellectual property. I'd never had a copyright class or trademark class or anything.
What?
Nothing.
That is so surprising to me. Because
Nothing.
now you are like the guy that we go to for any questions like this.
I think that's just a matter of time and learning on the job and all
Sure.
that kind of thing. But no, when I went in, I'm surrounded.
You knew how to try cases.
I knew how to try cases, but that's all I knew. The subject matter, it was, I don't know what the law is on copyright or trademark or any of the rest of that stuff. And again, I'm decently smart and figured I could figure it out.
Like
and all
learning
that.
new languages.
I like learning new stuff, yeah. But the partners at the time, because I joined as an associate, the partners realized very quickly that I was kind of just relying on natural ability versus learning the subject.
How interesting. What
And-
was that conversation like?
That was unpleasant, but absolutely necessary.
Okay.
Because they sat me down, there were two of them, and they said, look, you're very smart, you're good with handle with people and dealing with trial stuff and all that, but you're not doing enough. You're not digging in and learning the subject matter. You're just relying on your stand-up abilities in court, for example. You got to do more.
Wow.
And my first, and it was blunt.
Sure.
And my first reaction was, how dare they?
Right.
How dare they? And then you realize they're exactly right.
Thank God they said something.
Yes. It was hard to hear, but necessary to hear.
Yeah.
Because I realized, I have been skating. I haven't been doing the hard work. And so I dug in and,
It called you to a higher level of behavior and action. And
yeah, I think they were just tired of me saying, hey, what's this for such and such? What's the answer on this? And they're like, you need to
go
find
learn
these.
it.
Yeah,
Dwayne.
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's great,
and
though.
that was the point where the career went like that. Instead of just kind of, doing the minimum necessary as an associate, working for other people and all of that, it became, okay, I need to be more vested in this. I need to actually become an expert versus asking others for their expertise. And at that point, things just went like that for me.
What a gift. But it took work.
It took work, and but it also took luck, and it also took other people having the, I guess, intellectual honesty to say, you can do more.
And you having the growth mindset to be able to, maybe not initially, there was that second of like,
yeah, getting over my initial pettiness. Yeah.
Sure. I would too. I have an ego. Like it's hard to hear things like that. But then it allowed you to step into the fullest version of yourself or continue to step into the fullest version of yourself, which from my perspective is stretching you intellectually and which is what you need to thrive.
It is absolutely what I needed. And because of that, I really like what I do. And
Good.
I probably wouldn't have if I hadn't been forced to steep myself in kind of the subtleties and the nuance. I would have continued skimming along the surface as long as possible, and then it would have just been a job versus,
Right.
oh, now I see the importance. Now I see, if I'm saving someone's business because of their copyright or their trademark, what that means, as
Mm-hmm.
far as protecting jobs and protecting, the capital or the investment or whatever the case
Or
may
the
be.
IP.
Yeah.
You-
So yeah, it made a huge difference.
That's amazing. So it also sounds like you have an entrepreneurial mindset because you have a desire and a love of helping businesses like work their own, I don't know if identity is the right word, but work their own stuff out.
Maybe for them, I'm not really much of an entrepreneur for me personally.
Sure.
I'm not the kind who, oh, I've got this idea, I want to run and set up this separate business. So
Okay.
I think what helps is that I'm a pretty creative person,
Mm-hmm.
and that helps me solve other people's problems.
That's genius. So it's almost like a vicarious thing, but you're helping build out these businesses.
I like to think so.
Yeah.
And I kind of, I like speaking simply and clearly and directly to clients and just telling them, look, here's a number of different options. Here's what I think is best, but you have to decide this and so forth. And I think people tend to appreciate that versus, rather than, you know, if you work with me for 2 or 3 years and all that kind of thing,
Right,
and
right.
continue to bill over those 2 or 3 years, then maybe we'll find a solution. To me, it's like, if I can get a solution to your problem tomorrow, cool, good for you, we're done.
That's what you did for Snorri's. We made a decision and it was amazing. So we'll revisit that after the conversation. But for the audience, can you give us an idea of like what your day-to-day looks like? Is it more geared toward entertainment, IP, copyright? Like
Mhm.
tell us what it looks like.
Yeah, it's a mixed bag of a
Okay.
lot of different things. There's not as much copyright work in Texas as there is in California and New York, because that's where your entertainment industries are.
Sure.
Publishing in New York, media in California, that tends to generate more copyright work. There is stumps here.
Mhm.
You can copyright a website, you can copyright a book, music, all kinds of things. But as far as the day-to-day, everyday copyright work, there's not as much. There's a lot of trademark work, which
Okay.
is, the name of a business, the name of a product, Starbucks, McDonald's, Nike, Swoosh, all of those are trademarks.
Phrase.
And they're all around us. Yeah,
Okay.
the phrase, don't, just do it, for
Yeah.
example. They're everywhere. Everywhere you look, you see trademarks. So I do a lot of trademark work. And then from there, it just kind of depends. Things are up and down on the litigation front. Sometimes I'm busier with trial work. Sometimes I'm not. Other times it's doing contracts and licensing and personality rights or non-disclosure agreements. There's all of this mix to things that fall within, what you would say entertainment is made up of so many different facets. And yeah, just on any given day, I might be dealing with one piece or another, but not all of it.
I see. Okay. So it's not just entertainment, because I also know you are very well versed in patents as well.
Yeah, I'm personally not. Our firm
Okay.
does. To apply for a patent, rather to write a patent and send it to the patent office, you have to be an engineer, and I'm not.
Okay.
So
Interesting.
I've dealt with patents. I know enough to be dangerous, but I'm not the person who's going to write out the patent and submit it
Oh, that's so interesting.
because I just don't have the qualifications for it.
Sure. This is a silly anecdote, but I was at one of the cutest new not libraries, bookstores in Bastrop. I think it's called The Painted Porch. And I felt like Belle from Beauty and the Beast. It was just absolutely beautiful. As a reader, you would love it.
Uh-huh.
Wonderful place to take the girls and your wife. It was magical. We actually took my sister for her birthday. Anyway, while we were there, I popped into the restroom, and one of the things I noticed was they had framed the patent for the toilet paper roll. I was like, that's so clever. And they had framed the patent for the toilet and the toilet bowl
Okay.
as we know it today. And I was like, that is such a clever design
Yeah, that's cool.
choice. Yeah, I thought it was really cool. And then I just started thinking about patents. And what I like those moments because it unlocks things in my mind. Of,
Uh-huh.
oh, yeah, that happened. And when did that happen? 1890. Okay, wow. Somebody was really thinking and we're using it today.
Right.
So patents are really interesting to me. And it sounds like really hard to get.
Yeah, it's a long, drawn-out process.
Okay.
It's very expensive, and
That's why you see a lot of patent pending on things.
yeah, yeah.
Got it. So this is probably where you're parked for now. You're a name partner in the firm. I was asking earlier if that's like something that's like the biggest level of, besides the Supreme Court, which is a judgeship, but being a name partner is like the highest level you can get as a lawyer, essentially.
I guess, yeah.
It's very sought after, at least in the TV shows that I watch.
Yeah, it kind of used to be. That's what,
Yeah,
I'm old enough that when I was coming up, that's what everyone wanted
sure.
is, how long does it take to make partner? What do you make? That kind of thing. That seems to have changed quite a bit. The focus is less on becoming a name partner and more about kind of a balance, the work-life balance and quality of life. And because the thing about being any kind of lawyer, if you're dedicated to it, it's really hard work.
Yeah.
It's time consuming and it's a lot of work. And you have to be willing to do that work. Otherwise, you're not giving what your clients deserve.
Right.
And I think a lot of people have just kind of come to the conclusion that that's not for them. And that's fine if
Sure.
if that's what interests you, fine. But it's an interesting dynamic when you interview people now, and the first question that you get is not what's the partnership track or how much money do you make? It's how much vacation do you get? Or
Yeah.
can I work remotely? Those are the questions that you tend to get more that are higher on the priority list for a lot of people now that I find surprising, but I think it's just because I'm old school and it doesn't really compute to me.
Yeah, sure. Maybe so. Like coming into a job interview asking those questions is alarming to me too, and I'm 35. But do you think we're at a risk for like losing lawyers? Or people not coming in like, maybe that's a silly question,
No,
but
it's not silly at all. You can make a decent argument that we're over-lawyered,
okay.
certainly in some areas. When I was practicing in Southern California, I was in San Diego for a year and then Orange County, and my docket was all over. So I would have cases in, Los Angeles, Superior, or Ventura, or Santa Ana. It was all over the place. And even then, there were so many lawyers that chances are whoever you had on the other side, you'd probably never see them again. And it led to a much more brutal, much less collegial atmosphere than, what we have in Austin, for example. At least, certainly intellectual property is a much smaller
Right.
field, right? So, and that was then, and the numbers haven't really slowed down. So, depending on the geographic area, we've got way too many lawyers. If you're talking about more rural areas where there aren't that many and you need, wills and estates and family law and criminal issues and all of that, that's probably where there's still more need.
Yeah. And maybe it's because family law and criminal law has a sense of cool sexiness, edginess, I feel like, but maybe family law doesn't. I don't know.
I don't know. I mean, I've always personally thought family law would be the most brutal of all of them.
Yeah.
Just my outside looking in, it just seems like there's no real winners, that it's just awful for everybody involved.
Yeah.
And I don't know, that level of personal heartache and everything, that would be tough.
Oh my goodness, we are almost out of time, but I want to do maybe a clip or two. Does
Sure.
that feel okay to you?
Yeah.
So this is Landon. I'm pretty sure I interviewed him at ACC. I'll pull it up here. So if you had a mentor during those sleepless nights where you couldn't figure out what to do, when everybody was pressuring you, what could you have asked them that may have helped you get to this decision in an easier way?
I would have asked, what's the next step? What do I do? Yes, everyone's worried about college and grades and everything, but what should I be doing? And I actually spoke to my counselor about this, and she was telling me that you honestly just have to take it day by day, and you can only do so much in a day, and you can't stress yourself out about the future and everything, because then there's really no point in doing that because you're just making yourself stress out for no reason.
Right. I can't remember the context of Landon, but I want to say he was going into a creative field. But I feel like so many Gen Z people are struggling with like, what's my next step? Like, I have way too many options.
Right.
What would you say to that?
First, my sympathy, because the world is completely different now than when I was growing up. I don't look at things in terms of, oh, you lazy kids. The world is different. It was
Right.
much easier. I mean, a college degree now is the equivalent of a high school diploma when I was a kid.
Tell me what you mean by that.
It's kind of like the educational arms race. There's a lot more people.
Right.
There are a lot more qualified people out there. So you have to do more. So the number and percentage of people who had high school diplomas back then, you could still find a decent job.
Sure.
Now it's almost impossible. So you have to have that college degree, which means everybody has to get that college degree.
Right.
So in order to separate yourself, you have to go to graduate school. Or,
right.
You have to climb Mount Kilimanjaro by the time you're 12, or something.
Exactly.
Right? To set yourself apart.
And be an influencer.
Yeah, something like that. Right. It's so much harder than it was. So yeah, my sympathies. But that doesn't mean that if you're willing to work hard, you'll be just fine. It doesn't really matter where you go to school. It doesn't really matter. What really matters is, are you willing to finish something? And that's really the value, I think, of a college degree now, is it shows, oh, you stuck to something and you finished it. One, and hopefully within the area that you're interested in, but like me, it doesn't have to be.
Right.
Two, are you willing to work harder than everyone else? If you are, everything will be fine.
That's great.
You just have to get to that point.
Right. And take constructive criticism.
Yeah,
like
that helps
did,
too.
Right?
That helps too. Right.
Do you mentor any associates that come through, or what's that look like for you?
Yeah, we used to have more of a program for that, but we haven't in years and years. Just kind of as things have changed and some partners have focused on other things, we just don't have the type of program that we used to.
Sure. But I remember you saying you probably should have sat down with a lawyer and asked a few questions to find out your avenue. Would you encourage anybody looking to become a lawyer to do the same?
I would encourage that not only for a lawyer, but for anything.
Okay.
Know what you're getting into. If you want to teach, go volunteer in a classroom and see what a day is like. See what a teacher does. How do you like kids?
Right.
For example, you might get in the classroom and go, no, bro, that's not for me. Yeah. So I think that's true for a lawyer or doctor or anything, is just having that ability to see what a day is like. That's really the question that I would ask if I was starting off is, tell me about your day. What is it like? What do you do? Can I see it? And then you have a better idea.
Right.
Instead of, leaping blindly like me.
I guess law.
Yeah. With
in a foreign country.
Exactly. Zero clue of what you're going to do for your life. But yeah.
But I feel like I have a couple more questions before we close out. I know of you as a writer, and I want to know if your travels inspired, because tell the audience about what you're working on if you're allowed to,
Sure.
and how that unlocks a part of you that isn't necessarily stroked or fulfilled within your law career.
Yeah, I've always had active both sides of my brain. I've
That's
always
so
written.
Cool.
I would write short stories and just shelve them and put them in my desk and forget about them. And probably 10, 12 years ago, I decided I'd need to do something more with that. But I've always tried to satisfy my creativity, either playing guitar or painting or whatever, just to keep that side active. And I started thinking, okay, I need to bring some of those stories out. Well, you look at them and you go, no, that's trash. Let me put that back in the drawer. But I did start writing novels, and I wanted to incorporate a lot of the experience that I've had, whether it's travel or work related or whatever, or just dealing with different personalities and so forth, into something a little bit different than what's out there. And so again, kind of the OCD driving me of,
great.
Oh, you've started this, you got to finish it. And if you finished it, you got to get it published. And to get published, you need an agent. And to get an agent, you have to start going to these conferences. And it kind of just snowballs from there.
So great. So you have an agent and you're working on publishing this book, right?
I do. I have an agent. Yeah, I've written actually several novels, but it's been kind of a unfortunate circumstance.
Sure.
My first agent, who I loved, retired from agenting. So I had to find a second agent. I did. She said she loved a particular book. It was a different book than the first agent saw, but she'd never queried any publisher. So I spent an entire year and it never got sent out to anyone. So, okay, fine, find another agent. So I'm now on third agent, and she's sent things out and we just haven't heard anything back yet. So
I'm in that boat right now too.
I mean, they say publishing, the whole thing is hurry up and wait.
Right.
And that's what it seems to be.
It does.
So.
But the goal is, what type of reader will love this book? Because I love fantasy. Right now I'm reading Quicksilver.
Okay.
Are you familiar with it?
I've heard the name, but I've never read it.
I'm totally into some light smut. Love a good fantasy book, sci-fi. But my favorite author is Eric Larson, because he's a novelist, but historical novelist.
Yeah. In the Garden of, what's the one about the Nazi Germany and the...
Devil in the White City is my favorite of his. And then he does Sin City, about New Orleans, about the madams of New Orleans. But I'm not.
I think it's called In the Garden of Beasts. It's about the U.S. diplomat who was stationed to Berlin right at the rise of Adolf Hitler.
Oh, wow.
It reads like a novel, but
it's historically accurate. Yeah. That's my favorite. It just gave me chills. That's my favorite thing about him.
Check that one out. It's fantastic.
Okay. I will. And then what are you reading right now?
Right now, I am just finishing up a book by Catherine Center called Things We Save in a Fire, which is kind of just romance.
Sure.
What I'm doing, it's a little bit different because what I love is a good mashup.
Okay.
Taking things from different genres. So a lot of the things that I've attended have, like going to Thriller Fest, which is the big thriller writing convention in New York. It's all for thriller writers, which is fine.
Right.
Most thrillers tend to be kind of, the super spy who feels no pain and can do everything and all that. That's fine and good, but that's not my interest.
Mm-hmm.
What I want to do is to kind of cross over more of like the romance and the feelings and the emotions into a thriller and have it be a genuine person, someone that you can relate to. And so what I'm writing tends to be, yes, you want the exciting story, but it's also told from a human standpoint that everyone can relate to.
Oh, that's wonderful.
So that's
going to be so good, Dwayne. Well, I'm so excited for it.
I hope. And the other one, I've got this domestic suspense book that is about, a break-in west of Austin, and, you think the dad's going to be the hero, and it turns out to be the 15-year-old daughter who's the hero.
Oh, very cool. I love that. Empowering women, young women especially. You're a daddy of daughters, so you know how to do that.
I have no choice.
Yeah, exactly. That's so good. Well, I think we're right about out of time, but is there anything else that you would like to say to Gen Z just trying to find their way, or?
I guess the only thing I can really say is, look, if I've managed to end up where I am after so many false starts and just not knowing and just kind of bobbing along, going from one thing to another, just, keep your eyes focused on what it is that you want to do and work hard, and you'll be okay.
I love that. Thank you so much, Dwayne. I can't wait to read your books. Yes,
Anytime.
Of course.
Anytime.
That's a wrap on this episode of Uncharted. Huge thanks to Dwayne Goetzel for keeping it real and reminding us that the path to purpose can look a lot like a series of lucky guesses, hard pivots, and showing up even when you're unsure. If this episode sparked something, hit follow, drop a review, or pass it on to someone else who's figuring it out one step at a time. You don't need a master plan. You just need momentum. Keep moving. We're right here with you. Catch more episodes, resources, and updates at foundingup.com and check out the show notes for more details. See you on the next one.